And I think, you touched on something, the connectivity stuff. For every, when we talk about NIL, I want to just talk about that for a moment, which is different than fundraising. I mean, they're two different, the content ecosystem thing can be used for NIL. But I want to talk about Booster's goal is to be with an athlete from the very beginning of their career all the way through. And what I mean by that is there aren't that many athletes that can play at the next level. Right. For most high schools in the country, there's one athlete every couple of years in some sport that is good enough to go to the next level. And what we aspire to at Booster is that if there's enough community around that high school athletic program, that athlete that is good enough, they can take some of that connectivity with them to college on their personal Booster profile. That's an NIL play. So, let's say they were a great baseball player and, over the 5 years that they were there, 4 years, excuse me, that, there were all these parents and people that watched this kid who was so good that he almost got drafted and now is playing Division I somewhere. For most athletes like that, it is very hard to follow their journey. Unless they're playing on Saturdays on TV, it is really hard to know, the progress of an athlete that you cared about in high school, what they're doing now. We feel that Booster is a great way to stay connected to an athlete that you cared about and follow their journey, but also be a meaningful part of supporting them. Because for most of these kids that go on to play at the next level, they're not making a ton of NIL money. And the truth is that being an athlete at the next level is a grind mentally, physically, and financially. And if you, as a supporter, can support them a little bit financially and a little bit, mentally by giving them, a high five or whatever virtually, that can go a long way to that athlete, trying to achieve their goals or making the most of their shot.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about the name, image, and likeness, the NIL, and some specifics on future of sports funding. Just a quick reminder, you're tuning to Just the Cup with Brian Fetzer on the Believe Network. Catch us anywhere, anytime, really, with Believe.com, places where you get your podcasts, or on the YouTube at Coach Fetz Just the Cup channel. And this episode is powered by Iron Faith Nutrition, a faith-driven, science-backed supplement that is for natural health and vitality, and also whole body wellness. From joint support to immune health, Iron Faith Nutrition has you covered. So you can visit ironfaithnutrition.com to learn more. And we're here right now with Scott Beerbaum, who's Scott's Booster.club is really kind of changing kind of the landscape of how it goes. And the last time, listening about the stuff with high school, I could relate as being a former athletic director, and huge. Transfer the NIL piece now, because now it's coming into high school as well, and it's dominating headlines. It's kind of crazy but most athletes, there's the misconception, I think. One, you said earlier, they don't know, people don't really understand what that means. And two, some think that, hey, I'm getting an NIL deal that's, 6-7 figures, which is kind of crazy. How does Booster kind of serve that other 99%? Because, let's face it, there's the quarterback, Arch Manning at Texas. I'm sure he's making a pretty good chunk of change with name, image, and likeness. But the kicker probably isn't, or the second string left guard. I mean, that's just a reality. So talk about how Booster, can help the other 99%.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. NIL, there's a lot of misconceptions. So you talked about from the fundraising side of it, that people don't understand it. I think there's a lot of misconceptions from the athlete side too, of what the opportunity really is. I think that if you look at all of the stories, all of the media stories, and the people on Instagram, et cetera, that are getting NIL attention for NIL, they're a small subset of the athletic universe of D1 athletes, or any D1, D2, or even high school. The opportunities for those people